What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I've got another very important AMC update to bring all of you this evening. So what we're going to be talking about in this update video is we're going to be going over a little bit of what we saw on the price action today, a little bit of the Ortex short interest and utilization, and then there's been a lot going on with institutions and their changes in their positions in AMC. Now, we have Citadel liquidating even more of their AMC position, down about 75% on their long position in the third quarter, meaning they sold off about 75%. In the second quarter, they sold off in the 80% range. We have Goldman Sachs significantly increasing their position in AMC. And there is a very strange article that I am seeing circulating again, and a lot of people are giving it a lot of attention. And it's honestly sort of frustrating at this point when we see some of these types of things get spread because the information is just not accurate. And the data that we are looking at, we need to make sure that we know exactly what this data is. Now, a lot of people have been speculating about what's going on with Bank of America over the last couple of weeks and months, and we're going to take a look at this article, and I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on what's going on and just exactly what this data actually means. So before we get into all of that information, if you enjoyed the information and analysis that I provide for you in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It costs you nothing to do it, but it really helps us out a whole lot in getting this information out to as many people who want to learn. And if you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. So let's take a look at the price action on AMC today. So we closed down about 8 cents, down 0.19%. Now remember, we did see a very significant green day yesterday. So the fact that we consolidated today and didn't have a significant red day is very bullish. But the thing is, we were seeing some awesome price action. We got into the $44 range. And do you think that once we hit above 44, retail just decided, well, this is it, I'm going to sell off my position? I don't think that's what happened at all. This price action, honestly, with the overall market not having that much of a significant sell-off, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So coming over to this Ortex update, we can see, let me just give this a quick refresh. We see the utilization at 81.56%, still pretty low comparatively to what we've seen AMC's utilization at in the past. And short interest actually dropped today, according to Ortex's estimates. 15.95% is what the estimate is showing us now. But in a couple of weeks, or about a week and a half, we're going to get the new exchange reported short interest numbers. So these numbers are most likely going to change significantly. Now, let's get into some of these institutional purchases and sales of AMC. So we have Goldman Sachs right here increasing their position to 1.1 million shares. Percentage change, they increased their position by 85%. That is a very significant increase. And remember, the line of thinking that I want everybody to really try and adopt and understand is that these institutions who are buying a significant amount of AMC have a lot more to gain on the stock going up than just loaning out the shares for the measly cost to borrow that we're seeing right now at about 0.51 and at the high today, 8.27%. So nothing really crazy on these cost of borrows. This 8.27% is a bit of an outlier, but we're still seeing the average in that 1.18% range. Now, let's take a look at what Citadel has done too. So when we take a look at what Citadel is doing in their portfolio, well, they're now holding only 33,000 shares. They decreased their share count by 75%. Now, here is a possible explanation as to what Citadel has been doing, going along with the thinking that Citadel is the big bad short on AMC on their hedge fund side. In my mind, personally, I think that there is more going on the market making side due to the legal ability for them to naked short. But let's just say and use Citadel as an example for what they could be doing with decreasing this position size. So using Citadel as an example, here's what they could have done. Now, last night I did read the bulk of Mark Cohode's deposition against Goldman Sachs, and there were a lot of key pieces of information in that deposition that I am going to bring up in a lot of videos going forward, but this is one of the things that these institutions can do. Sometimes they can lock in their cost to borrow rate, meaning it would be a fixed rate, not variable like we see every single day here when these cost to borrow rates are spiking back and forth. Now, if this short position starts to go in, let's just say, for example, Citadel's favor, the stock falls, what they can then do, if they foresee in the future the stock becoming hard to borrow and those shares then having a higher cost to borrow, what they can do is they can buy shares in a separate account, lowering their net short position, and when the stock ends up going back up on a bounce, they can sell off those long shares, reestablish that short interest at the same cost to borrow while maintaining those similar leverage levels. So that is a concept that we are going to go over more in detail going forward. But the fact that Citadel had been decreasing its position in AMC, it is possible that they are engaging in this type of strategy. But again, with the way our reporting standards are set up right now, we can only speculate on what these institutions are doing, and we are never going to know for sure because one, when we look at the options that these institutions have, if you have Fintel Premium or if we look on Whale Wisdom, which we are going to in a little bit, you can see the notional value of these contracts, these call and put contracts, but you cannot see the expiration date. You cannot see the strike price. You cannot see any short calls or short puts, meaning sold to open. And you also cannot see any short shares. So it is very hard to draw conclusions based on the data that we have. Now, when we come over to this page on MarketBeat, honestly, I wish they never, ever, ever put this page up. Institutional investors shorting AMC. Okay, so when you look at this title right here and these institutions that we're seeing the shares shorted and the position size, you would think, well, Citadel is the largest short on AMC at the current time. But then you look at the position changes right here and you are seeing that they are decreasing the size of their shorts. Now that could spark a lot of FUD and a lot of people could be thinking, well, the shorts are covering their position. That is not at all what is going on here. We are seeing on this table right now, the value of the shares that the put contracts that these institutions hold, and that is the value that we are seeing. Now, when we come over to basically what we're seeing here is the 13F filings in a different way. This is Whale Wisdom, great website if you guys want to take a look. When we're looking at Citadel's put right here, this is what their new put contract and their put position is valued at, $190 million. Well, when we come back over to MarketBeat and we see that Citadel Advisors, shares shorted previous, shares shorted current, what's the position size? The exact same, $190 million. Now, when we think about what puts are, they just give institutions or anybody buying a put the right to sell 100 shares per contract at a certain price on or before a specified date. This is not essentially short interest, even though the contract can gain in value when a stock starts to decrease. You're only looking at one side of the picture. Remember, there were articles that were coming out a couple of weeks ago that was saying that Citadel now had the largest long position on AMC just based off of their call position. But at that time, according to their previous 13F filings, they actually had a larger position in terms of puts. And then this then brings us into the conversation surrounding Bank of America. When we come over to this article that honestly has been written multiple times, Bank of America has illegally shorted AMC stocks. So let's take a look at some of the things that this article is going off of. In this article, I've seen it spread around Reddit, I've seen it spread around Twitter, and I really don't want misinformation being spread out there and people thinking that some institutions are doing things that they are not. Or when we look at those actual 13F filings right here, when we're seeing these are just put contracts, this could cause a lot of FUD into people thinking that shorts have covered when that is not what we are seeing at all. So what we're seeing right here, Bank of America is shorting AMC stock. Bank of America is on the list of the top 10 institutions shorting AMC. Bank of America is known for being untrustworthy for the people, so it comes as no surprise. And when you see down here, where are they listed? Right here, 134,000 shares. That's not very many. Then they up their amount to about 1 million shares, and the value would be about 58 million. This is not really what we're looking for here because this is just puts. This is not short interest. This is just put contracts. So I really just want everybody to understand that when we're looking at these data sources, yes, data is great, but when you're looking at the data, you need to know exactly what you're looking at and be able to make an accurate interpretation as exactly what the data is showing you. Now, when we think about AMC going into the end of this week, well, previously in past weeks, we've seen big run-ups in the beginning of the week to try to entice retail investors, honestly, to start buying these weekly call options, thinking that AMC is going to have that big price run-up, and then the price starts to come back down. Then when we look at the actual open interest in terms of what's going on AMC's options chain this week, it's not a whole lot. At one time this week, we've seen AMC's open interest on this monthly options expiration date at about 50,000 shares. This is not enough to cause a very significant gamma squeeze, but again, you do have to be very, very careful buying short time to expiration options, especially on a super volatile stock like AMC. And I want to make that very clear to everybody. If you have experience trading options and you want to trade options on AMC, absolutely, by all means, go for it if that is what you want to do with your money. I am not here to tell you anything about what to do with your money or where to place it. That is all up to you. But if you are a novice options trader and you are just trying to get your feet wet, AMC is not going to trade like a typical stock. The implied volatility is going to be a lot higher. There's going to be a lot of volatile price movements in the stock on a day-to-day basis, and it is not honestly the best stock to learn how to trade options on, in my opinion. But again, I still see AMC on that trend that we previously saw with AMC's earnings and the movement of AMC after. We see the earnings report, we see a little bit of a sell-off and consolidation before we start that next move up. So that is going to wrap up this update on AMC. If you enjoyed the information and analysis that I provided for you in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It costs you nothing to do it, but it really helps us out a whole lot in getting this information out to as many people who want to learn. And if you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. So I hope you guys are having a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.